Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Cookiecast. Today on Cookiecast, it's the NFL podcast, Laces Out. We've got special guest on the Laces Out podcast today in the form of Stuart Woodmansey, and we've got our glamorous co-host back in the studio. So here we go, this is Cookiecast, Laces Out.
Keeping you up.
You are actually.
I know.
This is unacceptable.
Keeping everybody up at this point in time.
Leave it or not.
No.
Oh, right.
Her sleep training has gone well.
I see.
She was trained. Trained with the best of them.
Dawned on me when I was leaving the house this morning that I'd forgotten something. And
Was it your pen?
it wasn't my pen. It was actually the NFL sweepstake kit that I had created, that I said I would try and sell to the NFL league, and I even went back to home to get it, and it's still in the car.
Well, that's gone spectacularly well.
So, but I've realised. I think we realised yesterday that I'd actually. I think there was 20 teams left in it yesterday. And when we counted up, there was 19 tickets in the thing. So I need to now go through them all and work out which team it is that I haven't sold. But one guy bought one last night, and of all the teams that were left in it, the one team that he pulled out, the Cincinnati Bengals. At which point, me and Matt Stubb just turned to each other and went, "Oh dear, I'm really sorry, but that's your pound just thoroughly in the winner's kitty." So yeah, he wasn't too happy about that.
You got some good teams left in it. Huh?
There's some pretty good teams. I think the Saints are still in it, the Niners are still in it, the Rams are still in it, the Chiefs might even still be in it.
I guess the second big question to that would be, are the Skins and the Dolphins still?
No, James picked the Dolphins, which he even called. He said, "I'm going to get the Dolphins, it's just nailed on." However, he did choose 3 because he picked for him, Claire and Louis. Basically picked out, I think he might have got the Jags with his first one, then he got the Dolphins, and then he looked at his last one, Patriots. So it was like, you jammy fucking goit. But yeah, so he basically managed to pick the team that's probably going to finish with the worst record, and the team that's going to probably win the Super Bowl. So, but who knows? But yeah, there's loads of teams left in it, so I'll probably bring it with us again this weekend, and then you and Matt can have a little go on that. I'll get it together and I'll let you have your pick at it as well, if you so desire.
Guest does the intro.
Oh, fantastic. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is me, once again, back for a guest appearance with Cookiecast presents Yorkshire's #1 NFL podcast. Laces out, people. Laces out.
Laces out.
It's just dawned on me, this one's got the label on the side where you can't see it.
It's because I moved it round to get more sound from this side of the room.
Makes sense.
It was just for a one-off, and I've left it there for now.
Gotcha. Yeah, here we are, back again.
Weirdly, we did talk a bit of nonsense at the beginning of the podcast, but it actually was related to the subject of the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird. I like it.
I've managed to actually put in an appearance this week as well, which is nice of me.
Yeah, you got a good tan.
Rather than just phoning it in, which is apparently what I was doing for quite a while. So not ideal, but could be better. Could be worse.
Anybody got anything interesting from week 7 of the 2019 season?
Other than the Bengals not getting the message that they're not supposed to be tanking the season, it's just the Dolphins that are supposed to be doing that. So I don't really know what's going on. The Bengals are actually supposed to be half good
See, this is the conversation that I had at the weekend about the Bengals. I was like, I consider the Bengals to be unlucky. I don't consider them to be a bad team. If you look at the players that are on that team, they've got some really good players. I just feel that they're unlucky. I don't feel they're bad.
From the conversation I've had with you, I'm starting to wonder if Dalton's getting into your Flacco bracket.
Dalton does feel a little bit of the Cam Newton-esque.
So, Andy Dalton. On the Around the NFL podcast, they have this thing that they call the Dalton scale. So they've worked out that Andy Dalton is basically number 16 or 17 of the 32 starting quarterbacks in the league. He's basically the...
Bang average.
Yeah, what's the word they use for it? It's like the prime meridian or something like that. He's basically the... oh, God, what is it? It's like he's like the test basic or something like that. He's your... What is the word? It's like when you're doing a test and you need like a neutral point or something like that. That's your sort of your
Baseline.
thread. Yeah, baseline. We'll call it that. They've worked out he's basically the medium level of quarterback. So you've got obviously there's the 15 or so quarterbacks that are definitely better than him, but then you've got the utter dross that are definitely worse than him. So they always basically rank quarterbacks on the Dalton scale. So obviously like they're either going to be better or worse than him.
What happens then if Dalton has a good week? Does he move up on his own scale and somebody else becomes...
No, because I think the problem is that regardless of what week it is, there's always going to be at least 10 quarterbacks that are better than him or something like that. It's just weird. Like, and to be fair, you kind of see what they're getting at, because he's not a terrible quarterback.
No.
But he's not a superstar. He's never going to be a Patrick Mahomes level quarterback. No. He's never going to be that kind of guy who's going to, if the Bengals win, it's not because he's dragged them to a win.
No.
It'll either be because the defense has got stops on the game, or a running back's just like Joe Mixon, for example, it's ploughed for loads of yards, or AJ Green or Tyler Eifert's just plucked a ball from about 20 feet in the air or something with one hand.
But that was one of the things, wasn't it? That they're as well as the Dolphins, they are a winless team at this point in time.
The only two.
Which is weird, because the Dolphins are taking an absolute pounding this season. Not just on the field. It's
so,
the fact that everyone's like, fucking Dolphins are the worst team in the league.
But this was
Bengals haven't won a game.
But the thing with the Dolphins is that everyone knew it was coming, because even in the off-season there was loads of talk around the league about the fact that, without putting too fine a point in it, they are pretty much agreeing to tank the season so they get better draft picks. They've obviously traded Minkah Fitzpatrick to the Steelers for a first rounder, so they've got 2 first round picks next season. I was chatting with my mate about this, and he said that's all well and good, but all you're doing there is basically shafting yourself however many years down the line. So if you draft 2 really good players, so say if you do take your quarterback,
Gonna have to be a quarterback.
and then but if you think about it, if the defensive line's not very good, or if they haven't got any pass rushers, or if they haven't got any cornerbacks or tackles or offensive line or anything like that, there's no point in, if they haven't got an offensive line, there's no point in them taking a quarterback, because they'll just get killed for the next 2 seasons.
Yeah.
So what he said was, it's all well and good you having 2 high draft picks now, but if you take 2 absolute stud players in the first 6 picks or whatever, in 3 or 4 years' time, when their rookie contracts come up to an end, you've got a problem there where they're going to want massive deals to stay, and you're not going to be able to you're not going to be able to pay both of them and any other stars who might have on your team and stay under the salary cap. So you can't tank and expect to get good in 1 or 2 seasons. You've kind of got to do it how the Jags did for that season. They got good, because they'd basically been underperforming for 3, 4, 5 seasons. So they basically had high draft picks for more than one season. so they were able to take good players over the course of time,
Look at the Browns.
so they could spread out their contract renewals at a later date, and they weren't doing it all in one block where they were just going to get screwed. So it'll be interesting, and obviously at this point, the fact that they do have 2 first-round picks is good for them, obviously, because it'll mean that they'll get better players to start next season with. And at this point, they're probably like Dolphins fans are almost paying more attention to how bad the Steelers are going to be, as opposed to how well the Dolphins are going to be. Because the worse the Steelers are, the better the draft pick for the Dolphins. So at this point, they're wanting them to like go 3-13 or something over the course of the season because it gives them a better draft pick. But it's a strange one.
I see, as a relative newcomer to all this, I still find it quite strange that there is that option that you kind of might want your team to do badly now for the sake of the future. It's a weird thing.
It's a bizarre thing. If that was the case in the UK, like if they had like a university system where the players had to go through that system and then went into a pool for teams to select from, you would probably understand it more, and that it would probably make more sense for you to sort of like suffer short-term pain for long-term gain and stuff like that. But it's
still quite a gamble, though, isn't it? Because yes, they might get.
You're pinning all your hopes on the fact that someone has the potential to be good.
Yeah,
but that's where I suppose that's where you put your faith in your scouting team. I suppose in that regard, it's exactly the same as transfers, really, for a football team. You're putting your faith in the fact that your 40 million signing is gonna do well.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think it's one of them though. Whereas at least in the transfers here, you've got the option of investing 40 mil in a player that's tried and tested potentially at the same level.
Yeah, that's true.
Where you've got guys that are coming up fresh to the league who, yeah, they've done well at the college level, so you'd expect them to have a reasonable outing, but it's not a guarantee.
No, true. It's just part and parcel of the game, I suppose.
Watching that season of All or Nothing, the number 1 draft pick for that season, which was 2016.
Is this the Rams? Or is this the Cowboys one?
The number 1 draft pick got injured in his last game in college. And it was like what would have been a season-ending injury. So, was number 1 all the way up till that point. And then I think he dropped to I think the Cowboys took him at 6th pick or something. And they were like, we're prepared to pick you up, work with you to get you on the road to recovery and get you out and playing, and we believe that we all this. But as an injured player, look at this season as a prime example. You've got players that have returned from injury that just clearly aren't right. Todd Gurley.
Yeah.
Todd Gurley cannot stay on the field at the moment. Whatever this injury is, it's this reoccurring injury.
That's the problem with him. Is the fact that it's not the fact that he's injured. It's the fact that if he is injured, and he can't be injured as such, because obviously he played at the weekend and he scored, but he's not performing to the same level he was at the start of last season. At the start of last season, it wasn't a question. He was the best running back in the league.
Absolutely.
And then obviously when the season tailed off, he had this knee injury, and then it started being like they'd say week to week the knee's fine, and it's not a problem with that.
They just weren't playing him.
So I think the problem is that they don't know what it is that's the issue, and until they can sort it out, he won't be anywhere near the player he was last season.
There seems to be a few in that space though as well, because I noticed this weekend Barkley came back, didn't he, from his injury, and yet again towards the end of the game, was it round about third quarter-ish, he
was limping.
Reoccurrence of the injury and tried to battle his way through it.
Even up to the point he got injured and went out for a few games. I'm saying from the start, he was lukewarm this season. And even in the off season, I kept seeing these videos of the training schedule they had him on, and they were showing sort of what he looked like going into the season compared to what he looked like last season. His body shape was completely different. They were saying they had him on this completely different training regime and stuff, and he was like number 1 draft pick, but for like obviously fantasy he was number 1 draft pick, but was lukewarm, got injured, has come back, probably isn't quite right, as is often the case. But I was texting the group on Sunday going, it would be really nice if all of the players I had between 2 leagues could actually stay in the game for 5 minutes.
This is a strange one.
Obviously, I fell victim to that this week as well with Mr. Ryan.
I had Mr. Ryan in the other one. Anything else from the last week?
No, not really.
We had the Patriots with another shutout as well, didn't we, on Monday Night Football?
I mean, I think somebody put something on Twitter last week. Apparently, like they showed up the highest scoring fantasy players across the board, and the Patriots defense is in the top 10 of fantasy players, which never happens ever.
Yeah.
So
the Patriots defense has scored more touchdowns than X number of teams. It's like, okay.
I'm assuming you're about to go through stats.
I was about to.
Is there a stat in there about Lamar Jackson?
Maybe.
I'll wait till you come to it.
Saying about, I know we've mentioned the Dolphins already, but also did quite enjoy there was that very definitive point in that game at the weekend where the Bills suddenly must have looked at their watch and thought, shit, this isn't going to be us, and then actually turned up and then smashed them for the last part of the game.
Yeah.
Because the Dolphins were in front in that game for a little while, weren't they, as well?
I mean, I had in last week's podcast, I was like, and the starting quarterback for the Miami Dolphins this week will be Ryan Fitzpatrick, because he came on the week before at the back end of the game and actually, like, well, he'd scored, hadn't he?
Yeah. I think
that cemented him as the starting quarterback right there.
They were basically down by 2 touchdowns. Scored the 2 touchdowns, but instead of kicking the extra point, they decided to go for the 2-point conversion to try and win the game at the end, and they just totally fucked up the 2-point conversion. But obviously, because he'd gotten back in the game, then obviously it was deemed that maybe we'd make a bit of a mistake going with Rosen this early. We'll stick it out with Fitz, and he's only as good as the players he's got around him, isn't he? So what can you say?
Yeah. Right, let's talk some week 7 stats. As always, Nate Davis from USA Today has provided these via the Stats Mistress.
That's his sister, isn't it? So.
Just 12 for the week. And the first one is
Aaron Rodgers?
That's the second one.
Ooh.
Sir Thomas of Bradyshire?
No, it's his mini-me. The 49ers improved to 6-0 for the first time since
1990
is the correct answer. Over the past 3 weeks, the Niners have allowed 10 points and 491 yards total. By comparison, the Lions surrendered 503 yards and 42 points to the Vikings on Sunday alone. Yeah. Number 2, welcome to the MVP race, Aaron Rodgers. The Packers star, who already won the award twice, matched his career high by generating 6 touchdowns, 5 passing, 1 rushing, against Oakland. Amazingly, Sunday was the first time Rodgers ever posted a perfect 158.3 passer rating in a game, completing 25 of 31 throws for 429 yards and those 5 touchdowns.
Still don't understand the passer rating thing. Because how can you have a perfect passer rating and still have incompletions?
Yep.
Doesn't make any sense to me.
Is it not more based on like interceptions though?
I don't know. I'd assume so. I don't know how it's calculated.
Somebody that actually judged that throw was all right. We'll let him off with that one.
Like, he's not really put that tight a spiral on that, has he? So.
He raced it late. Number 3, second-year Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson had a major hand in Baltimore's 30-16 upset in Seattle. After running for 116 yards, he now has 576 this season, meaning he's more than halfway to Michael Vick's record for rushing yards by a quarterback in 1 year.
Yeah, he's gonna obliterate that record.
1,039 in 2006.
So he's still got 9 games left to play, and he's already got over half.
Over half of that. Yeah, he's gonna destroy it, I imagine.
Is there any more Lamar Jackson based stats? No.
No.
Because the stat was that going into the week, he had more rushing yards than something like 8 teams in the league.
Yeah.
It was like, what? How is that possible?
I had that written down that going into the week that the Ravens just in general were averaging 205 rushing yards a game.
That's about the same as Christian McCaffrey.
Not this week.
Yeah. Shame that.
One for you. Number 4, let's give Vikings quarterback Kirk Cousins the credit he's due. I had to show Leanne that video when we were watching on Sunday of Kirk Cousins nearly missing a 3-yard throw on his gender reveal.
I didn't even see this.
Who hasn't seen it? It's beautiful. It's just a board and he throws a beanbag that's obviously got like coloured powder in and nearly misses it from 3 yards away.
God.
Let's give him the credit he's due. After a rough start, Cousins has 125.8 passer rating over his last 5 games. 4 of them wins. A figure that includes 1,383 yards, 11 touchdowns, 1 interception, and a 74.8 completion rate.
Yeah, fair enough.
So last week they were saying, obviously the Vikings paid a lot of money. And it might be that it's now starting to pay off. Like it looks like it was maybe worth it.
Fair enough.
We will have to see. I think we're basing this on 2 games at this point in time. So, number 5. Though he's now 5-0 this season, Saints quarterback Teddy Bridgewater won't be in the MVP running since Drew Brees could be back as soon as next week. After catching a touchdown from Bridgewater on Sunday in Chicago, Saints third-string quarterback Taysom Hill now has 4 career scores, but still has yet to throw for one. Number 6, Chargers running back Melvin Gordon still hasn't found his rhythm yet, managing just 32 yards on 16 carries Sunday and failing twice to punch in what would have been a game-winning touchdown from the 1-yard line in the final minute against the Titans. Gordon also fumbled on his final attempt. Here's another one, isn't he, that's not returned all that great.
Who was that?
Melvin Gordon.
Yeah, I think his holdout has not really gone the way you would have hoped.
Number 7, good to hear that Mahomes' knee injury apparently isn't season-ending. Applause for the Chiefs' defence, which stepped up in Mahomes' absence. The Chiefs collected 9 sacks against the Broncos, scored on a fumble recovery, and limited the Broncos to 6 points and 205 yards. Big shout out to number 8 stat, backup Chiefs quarterback. What's this guy's name again? Oh, that's right. Matt Moore, former Dolphins teammate, quarterback Ryan Tannehill, improved his all-time ledger to 43-46, winning his first start as a Titan while adding some needed spark to the Tennessee's offense.
He's another one who should be on the Dalton scale. Ryan Tannehill. Jesus Christ. Has there ever been a more middle-of-the-road quarterback? We'll look at his stats there. What was it? 43 wins, 46 losses? Jesus Christ.
Number 9, Miami's 21 points and 381 yards were both season highs, but didn't stop and drop into 0-6. 10, Cincinnati running back Joe Mixon averaged about 7 inches per carry on Sunday. 2 yards on 10 rushes. And is generating just over 3 yards per run this season. When will the Bengals, 0-7, take a look at starting rookie quarterback Ryan Finley? Again, Leanne brought that up at the weekend. Was like,
They can't do much worse, can they?
Dalton's going to get benched. Like, they should have probably been benched already because they just can't get the rhythm going. And that's when I was saying to her, I just believe that they're unlucky. I don't believe they're a bad team. I think they're just unlucky.
You make your own luck, though, don't you, at the end of the day?
Yeah. 11. Lions quarterback Matthew Stafford made a little history, becoming the first player, 147 games, to pile up 40,000 yards. But it's just a little history because, you know, that mark won't stand for long.
Just say that again.
Quarterback Matthew Stafford made a little history, becoming the
Fastest player.
147 games to pile up 40,000 yards. And finally, the Cardinals-Giants game was billed as a battle of first-round rookie quarterbacks, Kyler Murray and Daniel Jones, but it turned into the Chase Edmonds show. The second-year Arizona running back rushed for 126 yards and 3 touchdowns, becoming just the 5th player with 3 rushing touchdowns of 20-plus yards in a single game. The Cards have now won 3 in a row for the first time since 2015. That, ladies and gentlemen, is your stats for week 7.
Exquisite.
Let's talk a little bit of fantasy football.
Do we have to?
Do we have to, Stu, is a good question.
Before we get into
the fantasy.
I shouldn't even really be here this week, should I?
He's got an interesting theory on this.
Because I thought the general thing was if you lose, you had to like not come on the podcast. But like as I've said to Paul as well, like leaving the country is a bit of an extreme way of getting out of it. But
I fully agree with you, Stu.
I mean, his honeymoon was a slightly decent excuse to leave.
To be fair, I'm not sure I've even met the guy, so shots have just been fired for no reason here.
He knows who you are.
So, in our little fantasy league, it's quite big.
To make you feel a little bit better, check out how I'm getting in my other league.
Myself and my esteemed colleague, Mr. Woodmansey, went into this week being joint first in our fantasy league. Unfortunately, as is often the case in fantasy football, ladies and gentlemen, what I found to be very interesting was that I'm pretty sure me and you posted the lowest scores in the league.
Yeah, my team absolutely shit the bed this week, big time.
My team were like, wait, what day is it? It's oh, don't tell me. Oh, no. Oh, I'm still in bed.
They were playing on our time, not American time.
I must admit,
what was it? You had 38 points.
37.
38 would have been an absolute bonus.
I'd quite like to go into the history of the league and see what is the lowest weekly score, because that could be up there.
Well, if we're going to talk about fantasy and we're going to talk about my score in particular, I'm just going to get all this bit off my chest now. Because
is this where you basically tell the Los Angeles Rams that if their defense decides to come up again, you're going to basically swing for them?
So, as well documented, as Mr. Cook alluded to the message on last week's podcast that I'd sent him about the Rams defense can go fuck themselves. This week, having had enough, I decided that I'd see what was around and I'd pick up a different defence and just see what happens. Looked what was available, thought, the Packers will probably beat the Raiders, we'll see where we go with this. And they managed to score me -3 points.
Yes, they did.
Unfortunately, in the same week, the Rams then decided to actually turn up and would have scored me from my bench 22 points.
I don't know what you're talking about there, Stu. In 2 leagues, I have, that's right, Jared Goff, and I was like, you know what, he can literally go fuck himself. So I benched him in both leagues, as we've spoken about here. I put Matt Ryan in one, Russell Wilson in the other, and, let me just have a little look. Let me just, oh no, I pressed the wrong button. Fuck off. Let's just have a look. That's right. Russell Wilson, being the better of those 2 quarterbacks, 13 points. What was it Jared Goff scored on the bench? Oh, that's right, 24 points. Matt Ryan, on the other hand.
I mean, no offence, it wouldn't have helped you
It wouldn't
anyway.
have done anything. I mean, at least didn't have every other player on a bye. Obviously, the Matt Ryan situation where Matt Ryan, that's right, went off injured, and as you well know,
Massive 2 points.
2 points.
The disappointing thing is like when, obviously, like I've heard you guys talking about, if you'd have made this change, if you'd have made that change, it wouldn't have made a difference. The sheer amount of points that were on my bench because of the injury and because of the defence thing, if I'd have played my backup quarterback, which was Mr. Phil Rivers, and the Rams defence, if I'd have left them in, me and Paul would have drawn, which would have then been the second draw that I'd had, obviously because the other one was with you. And if I'd have played somebody who I picked up just looking at Dorset for the Patriots, he actually managed to get a game and 10 points. So 3 right choices would have seen me beating him.
Would it?
Yeah, the three wrong choices.
I, on the other hand, had absolutely nothing. Like I say, I think 5 of the players on my bench were on buys this week. I had absolutely nothing. The only change I could have made would have been the Goff situation in both leagues. Weirdly, I still won in my other league. So, there are a few things I would like to cover. Obviously, you and I started joint first. So the weekend didn't finish that way. You and I have slipped to joint third this week. Obviously, backup quarterback Matthew Moore moves into joint first. Still think there's something dodgy going on there. With, who's this guy? This Travago Heroes. Who is his team captain? Paul? Any ideas? I mean, it's not going to last long, is it?
It fucking is.
It
You know it, bitch.
It will not.
I just putting it out there. On the final standing projections, projected to finish top. Just saying.
Yeah, because
Absolutely.
in my limited experience of the fantasy app so far, the projected things are always bang on, aren't they?
I tell you this much: if certain people were to finish top, that we'd steal a fucking trophy this season.
You haven't even won it. Why do you care?
Just
Saying.
Just saying. In the other league, 2 trophies. There are more important things than who's at the top, though.
Oh God.
As in, who's at the bottom?
Because unfortunately,
It happened.
it did happen.
He
didn't
finally got off, as they call it in the NFL, around the NFL. He got off the schneid.
He got a W.
Yeah, but it was against the team that's not mine.
He only owned 9 toes. And
You're gonna have to put that on Insta or something like that.
yeah. So Matthew, 2 teams Hurley has finally secured a win, ladies and gentlemen. Doesn't it make you sick? He did take that win against an unmanned team, I would like to point out.
Yes, but this is an unmanned team that has the Patriots defense. So
I'm also, on that note, it turns out it's my turn to play the unmanned team this week, and I'm calling bullshit because there was 2 players on a bye last week and I only have the benefit of 1 this time around. So if I end up losing to the unmanned team, it's bullshit.
As Leanne said, she was going into the last game losing to the
I think
team.
you're probably okay.
Fingers
His
crossed.
quarterback's on bye and his number one running back is on injured reserve. When did that happen?
Tyreek Hill.
Kerryon Johnson. Oh, it was this week.
We'll see. You never know, do you?
I think that's the end of his...
Something that broke today.
might be the end of his season, actually.
Something that broke today was the Sanders move from the Broncos to the 49ers.
Yep.
That's an interesting move. Very interesting. There was another one though, wasn't there?
Sanu.
Mohamed Sanu's got to the
Mohamed Sanu,
Patriots.
Yeah. That.
Dangerous.
I say it every week. The Patriots are walking this season, and they're going to continue to walk this season.
I think it's going to
can't
take...
name a team that can beat them.
I wouldn't go that far.
This season is the worst
So
far.
Yeah.
Name a team.
Name a team that can beat them?
Yeah.
The Seahawks.
No. Not.
The Packers. I'd be interested to see him go against the Packers.
I'd be interested to see it. I don't think they'd be walking away the losing team.
Based on my experience of their defence this week, the Raiders definitely don't have as good a forward line as the Patriots.
True. Bear in mind they haven't played anybody yet, so let's just have a look at this.
You know, previously I would have said the Saints would always be a team to go up against.
So
Without Drew Brees, the Saints are a shadow of the former team they were. Again, the Chiefs.
this is the Patriots' next 6 games is not easy. So they're at home to Cleveland this week. Who knows which Browns team will turn up? It could be either. That could be a walkover. They've then got to go to Baltimore, which is not easy.
That will be an interesting game.
Then they're on the bye. Then after the bye, they've got to go to Philadelphia. Again, that's not an easy game. They're playing Dallas at home. Again, who knows which Dallas team's going to turn up. They're at Houston. Not easy. And they play the Chiefs. And that's the Chiefs when Mahomes could be back. So...
this feels like, because of like your heavy hitter quarterbacks being out,
Yeah.
Roethlisberger, Drew Brees, these quarterbacks that can easily go up against Brady and the whole Patriots team. They're not there this season. I think it's a walk for them.
Quite possibly, but
By the time that they do get to Baltimore as well, Baltimore are on the bye this week, so they'll
nice
fully
and
rested.
rested up.
And fresh. Let's talk about some predictions. Let's talk about last week's predictions, and then let's talk about this week's predictions. As anybody who listens knows, the way we work it is our guest, whoever that might be, gets the guest pick versus myself and my glamorous co-host. The objective is that me and Paul tried to beat the guest. 7 weeks in, that's not been going too well. I did start to pull a little bit of it back. Spoke to Mr. Williams this week and said, very good scoring. Very good scoring. There were 14 games to predict. That has been another thing. There's been low sort of, it's like, there's 14 games and you managed to get 7 sort of thing. Paul Williams, would you like to guess how many points you got this week?
Probably like shitloads.
10 correct predictions.
That is physically not possible to beat.
And I am happy to tell you that you are the lowest scoring person this week.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Our guest of 14 games, the stats mistress herself correctly predicted 11 of them.
I think I know where this is going.
There is a smile arriving on the
Look
face
at
of
that
Mr.
grin.
Did I mention there was 14 games to predict?
I wonder how
God,
many
yeah.
this could be.
I wonder how many as well.
And with 12 correct predictions, the winner of week 7 is your good self.
Well done, Andrew.
Looking at the week before, yeah, I won that one as well. Obviously, there was the Matt and Stu joint guest prediction. There was the guest.
Are we going to wind this all the way back to the first episode when I definitely got beaten?
And me and Paul tied. So, at the moment, it is me versus the guest.
No pressure then, yeah?
I don't know what pressure is. Let's see if this week is going to be any different. Starting the week 8 with the Redskins versus the Vikings.
Do you just need to write the same thing down 3 times already? Yeah.
Give your stat.
Because I've done mine on the NFL Pick'em app,
Oh yeah.
and it gives you the little scorecard of the thousands of people who play it, the percentages for who's picked what team. Bearing in mind already where we are in the week, currently 100% of players, however many thousand that may be, have picked unsurprisingly
I was going to say
the Vikings.
on the pick map. I'm pretty sure there was 1, if not 2 games that had 100%, or it was 98% was the other one.
There's a few big scorers so far. Oh, there is another 100%. We'll get to that.
Yeah. Is there anybody in this room that is not putting the Vikings down?
Absolutely not a fucking chance.
Stu, you want a little Redskins on that one?
No.
Oh, shame. I've written you down for the Redskins anyway. Let's talk about the Seahawks playing the Falcons.
Just a quick side note, not that it'll make that much difference, but this is the week where it's the daylight savings time clock get altered, so the games are on an hour earlier over here.
So
it's lighter at the other side of the world.
Yeah, but
me and Lad had a massive thing about this because she was like, "Oh, and there's that point when the clocks change and the games are on an hour earlier." I'm like, "What are you on about? The games are always on at 6 o'clock." She's like, "No, they're on an hour early." I'm like, "They don't at all. 6 o'clock on a Sunday is kick off."
Nope.
She's like, "Not when the clocks change."
no.
Sorry.
Just gonna throw out my chi for the whole weekend.
Going with my Hawks.
Shock.
I will be joining you on that pick, good sir.
Come on, Mr. Williams.
I'm just going to see who the game is because I completely missed what you said.
Seahawks Falcons.
Oh, good God, the Seahawks. Jesus Christ. The Falcons are just all sorts of a mess. And obviously if Matt Ryan is not playing, poof, fucked.
He's currently not ruled out at this point in the week, but
Didn't
still
look good
early
when he
doors.
came off.
No,
He elbowed off, didn't he?
it was his ankle, wasn't it, that went?
Eagles versus the Bills.
Ooh, I do not like the sound of that game.
I think you should go first.
It's in Buffalo. Bills.
Okay. Stu?
Also pick the Bills.
Well, it's time for our first difference. Because this man is going Eagles.
The only team that's beaten the Bills so far this season. New England Patriots. So.
Well, that'll all change.
I could do with the Eagles tight end having a good game for me personally, but I still think they'll lose.
We'll see. Chargers versus the Bears.
Jesus Christ. Why are there so many shit games?
So me and Lan had this on Sunday. We put Red Zone on. We got ready. And then we were like, games aren't very good this week. We were waiting for the Seahawks-Ravens to kick off because that was hands down game of the week. But what we'd kind of not really looked at was the fact that the other games weren't very good this
The
week.
other games.
This goes back to what you were saying before again about the Dalton scale. So these are the 15 teams with the players below.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, this one. So I have this issue with Phil Rivers.
Careful. It's my backup.
I don't see what people see in him. Of the number of throws that he throws, on average, how many of them are too high or too low? If he threw three throws, you can guarantee the first one will be too high, the second one will be too low, and the next one will be in the middle. It's like freaking Goldilocks.
I would probably argue so far this season, though, that his support in terms of the players he's supposed to be hitting haven't exactly been on top form either.
Admittedly, that is...
So it's going to make him look worse, isn't it?
It will make his flaws stand out. I've never been able to get on board with the Phil Rivers thing. I don't know what it is, but I don't see what other people see.
Well,
Bear in mind, this is a team that last season had the same record as the Chiefs.
And last season, go back and watch the podcast. Last season, I was saying exactly the same thing. Don't get it. Somebody give me a pick on this one.
Absolutely the Bears. All day long. The Chargers just do not look good at all
Don't
this season.
look good. I am also in the Bears camp, I'm afraid.
3-all then.
You don't want to be in a Bears camp, Jesus Christ. They'll rip you up, they'll rip you to pieces.
But I'm like, I've seen something weird with a bear recently. But it was one of those Beats adverts. They had a bear wearing a pair of Beats headphones. The Giants versus the Lions.
Straight in on the Lions for me.
Yeah, it's in Detroit.
I'm going with the Lions as well. But I think I said this about a previous Giants game. I picked the other team and then was like, but I still think the Giants might win it.
Yeah, stick me on clean sweep on the Lions.
If Barkley was playing better, I'd have more of a... Because that Daniel Jones, he seems alright. Certainly better than Eli. Something that was interesting, I've said to you a multitude of times, Bill Burr does a lot of the NFL stuff on his podcast. He's a massive fan, unfortunately, a Patriots fan, but is still a massive NFL fan. And he's like, the problem you've got with the NFL is people very quickly forget what you've done previously. Like, and he's talking about Eli Manning. It's like, people forget those 2 rings
Oh, yeah.
very quickly. The Raiders versus the Texans. I mean... Anybody care to give me a pick?
Excuse me.
I'm putting the Texans down,
Yeah,
let's
me
put it
too.
that way.
Me too.
I have this thing about the Raiders that they often look quite good.
Hang on a second. Ooh. You're all over the place here. You're into the night games.
I've taken it from Pickham.
What?
I've literally taken it.
No,
in
this is
the
still
order
this
that
is still
it's
showing as a 5 p.m. game on Pickham's. So
According to
maybe
the NFL website, it's an 8:25 game.
maybe
Maybe they've flexed it. They can do that apparently. They can flex the times on them. Texans, yeah.
Yeah, so there's this thing that I have about the Raiders that every now and then they look good, but I don't think I can, with a good conscience, ever pick them. If it was Raiders versus the Redskins, Raiders versus the Dolphins, you'd be like, I guess the Raiders?
Yeah, but you wouldn't have picked the Raiders to beat the Bears either, would you?
No, that's what I was going to say. Obviously, they came here and won, so...
They still posted 24 points against the Packers last week.
Yeah.
But then just let 42 by. So...
Yeah. The Jets versus the Jaguars. Are you still in on Minshew madness?
Well, we've all got a little bit of Minshew mania in us, don't we? So, yeah.
Hence the...
Jaguars?
Yes, please.
Even with Darnold back.
Yeah, but it's in Jacksonville. That home support will be as lukewarm as ever.
Those seats will be as empty
Empty
as
as
ever.
they've always been.
Stu?
Also pick the Jaguars.
Jaguar.
I hate it when they say that.
Jaguar.
I hate it. It's like, just say it fucking right.
Jaguars.
Is it more or less grating than when an American sports personality will say semi-final? It's a semi-final, mate. Chill out.
Semi.
Do you know something? I'm going to book the trend on this one.
What?
Jets.
You're a crazy motherfucker. I mean, you picked a different game. I don't think me and you have picked a different team yet.
Sometimes you've just got to go out there.
You've just got to hang your balls out and just say,
You are.
have I?
Like when you pick the Bengals to beat the Rams.
Well,
No.
this is the other game where it is currently 0% have picked the Bungles, as he will say.
Well, it's them going into Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So,
Ram it.
I know that I've had issues with the Rams this season, but I am going Rams all day on that game.
if you do not play Jared Goff in fantasy this week, you, my friend, are a moron.
Can we have this as a... It's definitely not going to happen.
So, in the my other quarterback's Matt Ryan situation,
Not in our league, it's not.
probably playing Jared Goff.
Not in our league.
However, let's not forget my other quarterback in our league is Russell Wilson, and they're going up against the Falcons.
Yeah, but they're going into Atlanta.
They're still going to win in Atlanta.
I don't know.
MVP Russell Wilson.
Give it.
I'm putting you down for the Bengals.
You're fucking not.
I've done it.
You're fucking
Paul said, massively underrated team, the Bengals. And Bailey's definitely not winning. Cardinals versus the Saints. Does anyone
We don't even need
want
to
me
discuss
write
it.
the Cardinals down?
So this is the game where where they're saying that Drew Brees will be due back.
Due back
Doesn't make any sense to me to bring him back.
No.
They're on the bye after this.
doesn't.
Don't bring him back. Don't aggravate the thumb.
No.
Bridgewater's playing well enough where he can ride in front of the week, especially against a team like the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Fair enough, they've won 3 on the spin, but just don't risk him. And then he's got 2 more weeks, 3, I suppose, in general, if you think about it, when you factor in their actual when they'll play again to heal properly. Yeah, it's just not worth it.
Would they ever kind of have him suited up, but have him as the second string for just
Well, they
to maybe
don't-
get a few snaps?
They don't even need to, because obviously they've got Teddy Bridgewater as the backup, and then they've got Taysom Hill, who is a quarterback but goes in as a sort of a utility player.
Because surely even if they did that, it'd become an instant target. There'd be obviously
there's-
more so than normal.
It's not as if they're just going to go in and just say, right, we're going to give Drew a couple of snaps, but you Cardinal players, don't you go near him. You play nice. Don't you go touching his fingers.
Bonus points for whoever put him out for longer, wouldn't it? I suppose.
Exactly. Which is ironic because the Saints, like way back when, had this thing called Bounty Gate, where they were basically putting they were actively giving the players money to go out and take players out of games and so that. They got really fucked about it.
Stu, who have you got in that game?
Saints all day long.
No.
If the next game is the game that I think about I think it should be. I literally would rather just not pick this one.
Couldn't care less. about the Buccaneers versus the Titans.
Absolutely ridiculous. Just one of those games that each week you just think, just get off my screen.
Yeah. I have, however, gone for the Buccaneers in this game.
Ooh, we've got a differential. I've gone Titans.
Titans.
Do you know what? Because I care so little about it, I can't even pick it.
Flip a coin. He's looking for one.
Do you know what? I actually am going to do it on this one because they are both as bad as each other, and I honestly don't know which one looks more like a buck or a Titan.
Surely the tails is going to be T for Titans.
We'll do that then. Okay, so I'm going for the Bucks apparently.
Good lad. Panthers. 49ers.
I really don't like this game. So the Niners are due a loss. Some point.
Heavily due a loss.
They are due a loss on Sunday.
Oh, run CMC.
You on Panthers?
I am.
He's riding Christian McCaffrey to the end of the season, isn't he?
You damn right.
Almost literally.
Is this another week where I ask the question? Can anybody tell me what Cam Newton's injury is? Can anybody remember what Cam Newton looks like? Because, I mean, his name has not been mentioned.
I think you're the only person.
I'm the person that keeps him alive.
Rob loves him some Cam.
Hasn't he dropped?
More than likely.
Come on. I've gone with the 49ers. I don't believe this is their week to lose. At some point, they're going to come up against Dr. Evil himself.
This game...
Call him Mini-Me.
This game would have been awesome if it had come last season, and it was when Garoppolo was in the middle of his...
Injury.
Never lost. Because you'd have had Kyle Allen, who's not lost a game yet, going up against Jimmy Garoppolo, who'd not lost a game yet.
Mm.
So that would have been interesting to see.
Mm-hmm. Go on, do it. Do it. Go on.
The Niners are playing. Like, I had a quick look at this. They've got even though the Patriots have got the best fantasy defense, the 49ers have got the best defense on paper.
Yeah.
They're top of the tree.
They looked super ropey on Sunday.
You take that game with a huge pinch of salt. The conditions were just so not conducive to football.
Chucking it down.
Oh, I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it.
Watching that game periodically on Red Zone, it was the closest to actual rugby as opposed to American football. It just looked like an absolute mud pit.
There was a game.
The slip and slide.
This was the thing. There was a point where Case Keenum threw a pass out to a guy. I think he took it within the numbers or within the hashes and pretty much slid down and just couldn't stop. So he tried to get up to like keep going for the yardage and was like, no, not stopping. Oh, okay, I'm gone.
It's when the guy who gives like the little commentary in between the games on Red Zone was like, yeah, I think this might be more of a rushing game than a throwing game.
Yeah. Well,
really?
they said, didn't they? It was the total time of the game was less than 3 hours. It's one of the
2 hours
Because I said
36 or
something like that. It was the fastest game that's been in the past 25 years.
Why has that game ended? Another game's like in the third quarter.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what is happening? Did they start that game early? No. One of the fastest games in history.
It rained. They didn't want to mess about.
Excuse
so
me.
just getting on with it.
I'm going to go for the Panthers, if for nothing more than I think of the two teams, McCaffrey could be the difference.
Yeah, I mean, fucking McCaffrey, man. What an absolute beast.
So, to put it in perspective, on the league leaders in the positional sense, the leading rusher is Dalvin Cook with 725 yards. Second is Fournette with 715 yards. Then you've got McCaffrey on 618. They've both not had their bye. So McCaffrey is about 100 yards or so behind Dalvin Cook. but he's got an extra game to play. So,
Yeah.
you'd imagine that he's going to be up there.
Broncos versus the Colts.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Another one that I just could not care less about.
Colts for me, please.
See, this is another
I've
one
gone
that's,
the
this
other
is another
way.
one that's listed as a 5 o'clock game. On mine.
I have gone with the Broncos for this
And
one.
this is an 8.25 on the pick'ems.
Maybe the flex in some of these games. Yeah, Colts all day long.
Are you ever going to pick the Broncos? Ever?
No. Who is their starting quarterback? Until they see the light and shoot him out of a cannon into the sun,
I
as he
thought you'd
deserves.
have gone with into a wall. Just
Just his stupid face does my head in. Like he's got that smug
I know
little
that,
fucking nonsense look about him.
especially last season, I used to ride you really hard about the Flacco thing, but he's fucking awful.
I mean, it's like
The fact that he's still allowed to play the game.
it's not like I don't say it because like it's funny or whatever. I say it because like he's just not a good. You watch him and he's terrible.
He's awful.
It's really, really bad.
Does anybody want me to write the Browns down for Browns versus Patriots, or
Only if you've decided to write down who's losing now.
I you see, before I started saying it, I was like, Paul's going to go Browns. I've put the Patriots down.
They're at home. You can't.
Stu,
You can't.
Yeah, it's Patriots.
You can't.
this could be the one. Paul, come on, put the Browns down.
No, I thoroughly think that the Patriots will get not just beaten, they'll get handsomely beaten by someone in the next 6 weeks.
Chiefs. Chiefs are going to beat him.
Could be the Texans, to be fair. The Texans were... Because
Could be the
they're
Packers.
playing the Chiefs at home. They're not playing the Packers. I had a quick look. They're not scheduled to play the Packers this season. Who was it that they were scheduled to play? Dallas and Eagles. Or the Ravens. Away. They're going to Baltimore. If Lamar just gets his dick out and just starts running all over them, they could be in a world of pain.
Speaking of the Packers, they're playing the Chiefs.
Good
Game.
Mm-hmm.
This is...
I mean, it's in Kansas City, and obviously Patrick Mahomes isn't playing, which is a shame.
Which is the reason I've picked the Packers.
I'm inclined to agree on that one. Although that does mean that technically we're going to get to one game left to pick, and we have picked the exact same.
No, there's a different one. I'm sure
Was there?
there's
I don't think there was.
I think there was.
Are you going with
It was the coin flip. The coin flip one was different.
Oh, did you have the Titans?
Yeah.
I've gone with the Chiefs on this one.
They're at home, so you'd imagine they've got the slight advantage, but Rodgers, if he played anything like he played last week, do what, stand a chance?
As much as I've picked the Packers, that's kind of what worries me. He's not going to pull the same
for
one.
the final game of the week, Dolphins all round, yeah? Dolphins versus the Steelers.
Oddly, this isn't a 0-100.
It's because the Steelers are so bad.
They're at home. Stick me down for...
I've
Steelers.
also gone Steelers, which I can't imagine is a surprise. So just you going with the Dolphins. Cool. Yeah.
No.
Is this going to be the case where the world finishes watching the NFL on Sunday and thinks, nah, fuck it, Monday, let's not bother?
That brings us to the end of the predictions for Week 8 of the 2019 NFL season. Also, unless anybody has any other business, brings us to the end of the podcast, ladies and gents.
Nothing from me.
No, I'm all out.
Nothing from me either, so put a bow on it, send it down the line. This one's done, kids. Thank you very much for joining me. Thank you for joining them. Remember, laces out, people.
You stay classy.
Laces out.
So there you go, Ian. What do you think to that? Another one done, another week of the season gone, another week closer to the Super Bowl. Who'd you pick for the Super Bowl? Come on, tell me. YouTube watchers, make sure you're YouTube subscribers. like, share, comment, notifications, all the juicy good stuff on the YouTubes. Everybody jump over to the Cookiecast.com, check us out over there, send us love of the social media variety, and all that stuff. So there you go. Check us out next week, as we'll be reviewing this week and previewing next week. So there we go. Until then, I'm going to say bye. I'll see you then. Bye.